Hello my friends and welcome to Flying Circus Models. This is the second part of my current project at Stahltaube painting. Because this plane didn't have a rotary engine that spilled oils everywhere, I decided to add just some drops of oils in the engine bay. I used the water-based black wash and spilled it with the help of brush and toothpick on the bottom of the bay and on the firewall. The Mercedes engine was completed out of camera, and you can see the video of how to in the description. I added wires to the spark plugs and from ignition coils. I used the same black wash to highlight engine details and show some small oil leaks. When the wash dried a bit, I removed the excessive one with the help of the cotton stick. Then I glued the engine to its place and added some extra pipes and wires. I used 1mm brass tube, bent it with about 90-degree angle, and with the 0.2mm copper wire added the tube to the carburetors. And now is the time to close the fuselage halves and glue them together. I didn't have any problems with that, everything matched and took their places perfectly. Of course I had some small steps that I filled with the super glue and it worked as a putty. When the glue dried, I sanded it with 400 first and 600 grit sandpaper after. The model was covered with Mr. Surfacer 1500 gray primer, and I covered both wings with Tamiya wooden tan color. It's darker than the main base paint that will be applied later. The next step is to mask wing ribs, and I used Tamiya masking tape with different sizes. 1 mm for the ribs and 2 mm for the main spars. I had to match them on the upper and lower surfaces. When the wing masking work was completed, I put wings aside and started to work with the fuselage. It also was primed with Mr. Surfaces, and I applied 1 mm masking tape only on the top side, between pilots and observer seats. Then I covered the nose part with black paint as the base for aluminum metallic, and that worked as a pre-shading on the top and tail section to make elevator ribs darker after the main color. As I said many times, I'm a huge believer that any metallic paint has to be applied only on the black base, because this gives more depth and better looking color. The whole fuselage, except of nose section, basically everything that was covered with the linen, was painted with the base RLM gray color, and I used Tamiya XF22 paint for this. On the elevator, I applied very light layers of the paint in order not to destroy the pre-shading effect. Also, to add more Wizarding effect on the thin elevator, I used a mix of base gray-green with tan paint. My idea was that this will be like fading effect on the linen. The nose section was masked and covered with Mr. Super Metal Color aluminum. Here are the pictures of the real plane with 283/14 serial number, and you may notice some patches of clear DOP linen that were unpainted to the gray-green, and these are the places of fabric repair or something like that. And I painted them as close as possible to the real picture with tan color. And while I'm painting them, please don't forget to subscribe and support me on Patreon. Thank you so much. And here comes the fun part, painting of the worms on the aluminum surface of the engine covers. The base paint was nitro-based, and this one is water-based aluminum with the different shade. I used a very small 10x0 brush, and with the free hand painted those worms. On the museum Stahltaube, you can see the worms with the shape of fish scales, but in the real picture of the real plane, they look more chaotic to me, not like a fish scale at all. First, I tried to match the picture shapes, but then just painted them without matching and as it goes. And here's the results after a couple of hours of painting. Then I came back to the wings and painted them over the masks with the lighter tan color. So right now the time to remove masking tape again. As you can see, I had some steps of the paint where masks were, and that means that I put a very thick layer of the paint there. To remove them, I used 800 grit wet sandpaper with a few drops of water, and with a very light pressure I was able to sand those steps from top and bottom surfaces. To add some more lead-in fading on the top sides of the wings, I used Vallejo leather brown paint that had about 80% of thinner, and with the help of stencils and low air pressure, I painted uneven shades/stains. And that's it for this episode. As usual, please don't forget to subscribe to my channel, press like button and leave your comments below. I read and reply to all of them. Also, if you would like to support my channel, you can do it on Patreon, where you can see my videos early. Also, I share some interesting pictures there. The link is in the description. Thanks for watching and see you in the next episodes.